Hello, and welcome to my presentation. Pass today assignment number 2 by Ethan Libri on the piece of art of the White Chapel by Carlos Castro. Question: what significance does the police van have to do with it being placed within a beautiful cathedral? My thesis: the significance of the police van in the cathedral is that it shows the irony of what the church is, as a church can't represent a sanctuary, and the police van represents a militant-like force instead of protecting force that people would run from instead of to. For safety, as the interior of the van mimics the cathedral's architecture, showing the contrast and similarities of fear of the church and police. Colombia is a beautiful country with a rough history of violence, cartels, and death. Carlos Castro tries to capture that within his pieces of art. This is the piece of art that will be examined in this presentation. At first glance, we see the inside of a church, a Colombian police van with its trunk open, and then a beautiful interior of the van, and behind that is other pieces of art, and Jesus on the cross with other religious figures. There are many questions that come to mind when looking at this piece of art. Why the police van? Why is it in a church? Why are there other pieces of art by the van? Is this supposed to mean something to the viewer? Why such a beautiful cathedral, where it could have been in many other beautiful places? Why does the interior look similar to the cathedral? And why a place of religion? This is what we will explore in this presentation. The police van. The police in Colombia and the police in the United States are very different because Colombian police must act as a military-like force to stop the drug trade and distribution. The van is an image of symbolism of violence that takes place in Colombia, but also its inner beauty. When examining the police van alone, one looks at this piece of art and questions the exterior of the van and the interior, and why they are so different. This could be for many reasons. I believe the artist wanted to show the inner sanctuary that the police are supposed to show to the people of Colombia, but is not always true. On one side, police protecting and serve the society, but on another, there are corrupt cops and people wrongly accused of crimes and can be sentenced to prison time and never get fair justice. In our modern societies, we like to think of the police are the people we can go to when we are in danger or scared. But as the news shows, this is not always the case, because there are cops out there who are trigger happy and seem to like the power more than protecting society itself. The cathedral. The cathedral represents the beauty of Colombia, physically and symbolically. The religious figures and paintings give a good look on the contrast of the van. The other pieces of art by Carlos Castro and where they are positioned and why. When examining the cathedral alone, one looks at this piece of art and questions why this was the location for the art exhibit. The artist could have picked 1,000 various places that could have represented the beauty of Colombia. But I believe he chose a cathedral to have contrast with the police van, as they are both places of what society thinks as a sanctuary. But this is not always true. Religion has many different opinions when one feels that life is not going the right way. Some feel the need to pray and to go to church. Or, if they did something wrong, they must confess their sins. The church seemed like a place of hope and fulfillment. But, when looking back on history with the Crusades that killed many people, and the thought that many people believe that their religion is the only right religion, we see violence and what will result in violence. Their opinions can be very harsh and evil things when they are put into action. Even in our modern times, there have been news stories of priests doing horrible things. We like to believe the church is a place of safety, and that religion will put us on the right track in life. But this is not always the case. The larger meaning between the cathedral and the van. There are 3 layers to this picture when looking at it and what it means. Layer 1, the beauty of the cathedral. Layer 2, the somewhat ugliness of the van and what it truly represents. And finally, layer 3, the inner beauty of the van. This piece of art is like an onion. You have to start peeling at the layers to start to understand the inner meaning of the piece. The outer shell is the cathedral with its beauty and religious presence. Then we see an almost random looking police van in the middle of this beautiful place. But as we look closer, we see the beautiful interior of a van. This could mean a lot of things, and what the artist is trying to show is the similarities a church and the police have, which is within society we think of a church and the police as places of protection from evil. But within reality, sometimes they are evil themselves. Not saying that all cops and all people of the church are bad, as the majority of these people are on our side. But we still must know that they can hurt us. I think that's what Carlos Castro is trying to show in his art, and is trying to bring awareness to the people of Colombia and the entire world. Similarities of church and the police. We like to believe that the church and the police are always the good guys. Most modern news will show us this is not always the truth. Not all cops and people of the church are good or bad, but we like to think they are always on our side. This is where Carlos Castro's Whitechapel piece of art shows the political and social problems of the country of Colombia, and why we should care. Map of drug routes to North America. This is a picture of modern drug trade routes going into our country, the United States, from Colombia. We like to think that this was a thing of the past, back when Pablo Escobar was a major drug distributor. But cartels are still as dangerous as ever, even in Colombia. Within the Whitechapel picture, the police van is the main eye-catcher, but is not the only art in this picture. Looking at the image more carefully, the viewer can see other pieces of art by Carlos Castro, such as knives that were confiscated in Bogota, Colombia, in the downtown area by the police, showing the continuance of violence in such a beautiful country and the police trying to stop it. The amount of murder in Colombia. This chart shows 8 different countries and their murder rates in 1998, and as we can see, Colombia is one of the highest in the world. Art does many things for people and society. It allows people to question things, feel emotions they haven't felt before, and bring awareness. This is what Carlos Castro is doing with his Whitechapel piece. It shows many various aspects of the country of Colombia and different views of the people within. In conclusion, the police van is in the cathedral because it shows the good and the bad of Colombia and the people who should be protecting us. The police van is in the cathedral because the artist wanted to show how society has this thought that the church and the police are the people that are always protecting us, but in reality, they are the ones who are after us at times. The artist also wanted to show the different layers of beauty and violence in Colombia with his positioning of the beautiful architecture, or the cathedral and interior of the van, and the van's rough-looking outer body, representing the violence in Colombia, and what could be done about it.